In today's video, we're going to look at the American Express cards I would consider applying for in June of 2021. So American Express is doing a pretty big brain strategy of having one set of cards that are super competitive every month. We'll also look into how to use those points, and there's going to be a chapters tool down below if you need to skip parts. Big favor from you guys is to give this a thumbs up and share this with anyone else who would benefit. I'm actually going to start off with the metagame for American Express because I think that's pretty important, especially for new people who might be watching this. So there's two major principles. The first one is that you want to apply for American Express cards when they have increased offers. So the reason for this is, unlike a lot of other issuers, American Express only lets you get the bonus once in a lifetime. So by the book, if you look at the terms, welcome offer is not available to applicants who have or who have had this card. So this means that even if you apply for it and you change your mind, the fact that you have had it at some point means that you're not eligible for that bonus. Same thing if you upgrade or downgrade into that card at some point. Main takeaway is to apply for the cards when they have better offers because you might as well grab the bag. Principle number 2 is that American Express tends to target people who are non-customers with better offers. This is almost always going to be on the Platinum card, where they target non-customers with 100,000 points or 125,000 MR points. So if you're not an American Express customer, that's the starting point that I would recommend. Same reason you want to grab the bag, I would recommend checking something like Card Match. I have a blog post down below walking through all of this and how you can think about it, but yeah, read that, check that out first before applying. Moving on though, if you are someone who already has a relationship with them, which cards should you consider this month? What about Delta? Delta cards right now are not increased. I would strongly recommend waiting for them to increase the offer. Typically, I would say that we see increased offers a few times a year, so 3 to 4 times a year. I would recommend waiting until July or August and seeing if the offers increase, unless you really need those points. I feel like Delta points don't really move the needle though, because there's not as much upside, so not really as urgent there to me, but obviously just depends on you. Bonvoy, so Marriott cards are in a similar boat, but to me, at least, there's a lot more upside there, so I can't see the justification, especially for people who want to go on a honeymoon or some other aspirational trip this fall, and you just need those points. Still though, for those cards, we just had an increased offer, so I don't think it's worth applying for right now. It feels like you just missed out. I would wait another month or two, and then I think they're going to increase either Delta or Bonvoy again, because that's just the nature of the game. On a note of travel, I'd recommend signing up for a VPN, which stands for Virtual Private Network. So there's 3 main reasons you should do this. First one is that sometimes there's going to be places that give you better offers or give you cheaper rates for flights and hotels by using a VPN. Number 2 is that hotel Wi-Fi is pretty suspect and it's pretty much a hacker's wet dream. By using a VPN, you encrypt your data, so if you need to do anything sensitive, then at least you're a bit protected. Number 3 is that there's a lot of services out there that are very annoying to deal with when you're traveling if it looks like you're not in the US. I've used a bunch of other ones, but there's always an issue for me of either speed or price. If you're looking for a paid one, I'd recommend something like Surfshark. So to me, they're the best bang for buck. If you want to check out Surfshark, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Either use code AskSebby or use the link down below, and you're going to get 3 months for free and also 83% off the plan. Back to American Express, the Hilton no annual fee and the Hilton Surpass have elevated public offers. For the Hilton no annual fee card, you're going to get 80,000 Hilton points for spending $1,000 in the first 3 months. You're going to earn an additional 50,000 points for spending an additional $4,000 in the first 6 months. If you combine both of these tranches, it's 130,000 points for $5,000 in spend. So this sounds awesome, but be careful here. Hilton points are not as valuable as some other currencies, so you're looking at about 2 to 1 or 3 to 1 rates in terms of comparison. There's still value that we'll talk about, but a lot of it leans towards the upside of people looking to do aspirational trips. I would argue that the Hilton Surpass is even a little bit better. You're going to get 130,000 points for spending $2,000 in the first 3 months. So pretty much the same value as the prior one, but for only $2,000 of MSR. You're going to get an additional 50,000 points after spending $8,000 additionally in the first 6 months. So pretty much 180,000 points for $10,000 in total spend. Hilton Aspire does have 150 for $4,000 in spend. I think for someone looking to top off, that makes a lot of sense. But given what we're seeing with the no annual fee and the Surpass, I'd probably wait and see what happens with the Aspire. Or I could be completely wrong because the Aspire, maybe that's a money loser, so it's not worth them doing that. So should you get these cards? I think if you're someone who has a use case for Hilton points and you're already in that late game, then it makes a lot of sense. I would argue that if you're someone still eligible for Chase cards, then I'd probably still do those ones first, but obviously it depends on you. My rationale is that these points are a little bit harder to use, and even though it sounds like a lot of points, it's not as much as you might think. With that said, let's look into using these points and how you can think about this. So generally for Hilton points, you're looking to get 0.8 cents per point, meaning that if you have something like 100,000 points, you want to get $800 in value. For me and for a lot of people, if that use case does not net you that value, then you're not going to use those points. You'd rather pay money or use some other currency or stay at a different property rather than use it for a non-optimal thing. Generally, the best use of points is going to be if you go to a place like the Maldives, Bora Bora, or some other international destination, typically resorts rather than domestic ones. Domestic hotels are some of the worst use of points, especially for major cities. Even though it costs a ton, I feel like the value is not really there. Let's hop into the computer and show some live examples. So let's say I want to go to Miami next week. So go to their site, use points, Miami, and let's change the dates to the 2nd to the 3rd. And let's say we stay at the Conrad. So looking at the calendar, the Conrad runs you 67 to 70,000 points per night. You're only getting about $243 in value. So that's the retail price of that room. So 243 divided by 64,000 points, that's going to be 0.3 cents per point. So that's less than half of our target, so I'd rather stay at a different property or just save the points for a different use case. I'm going to change it to small town Alabama because I'm trying to show how not useful these Hilton points are for domestic stays. Hampton Inn at the St. John's Hotel. Using points, it's as cheap as 26,000 points per night. Retail of this is only $93, so would you rather use 26,000 points here or would you rather just pay 93 or maybe stay at a different place? 93 divided by 26,000 is still about that 0.3, maybe 0.4 cents per point. Again, I'm not saying Hilton points aren't good. I'm saying that you need to do a little bit of work to make sure that you're actually getting value, that you're not just burning tokens for no reason. Even on their marketing, you can see that they're pushing these aspirational destinations, and that's arguably the benefit of points. So one example that I've used a ton in the past is the Maldives, and here we have the Waldorf Astoria. If we look in June, we can see a bunch of nights that are 120,000 points per night. So what we're looking for is these standard rooms and not the premium rooms. So you do need to stitch a few of these together sometimes, which is pretty annoying, but that's generally what you need to do to get the most value. Also, the Hilton notifications are the most annoying thing I've ever heard. So 120,000 points, and then the alternative is paying retail, which is about $1,600. That's going to be 1.3 cents per point. Compared to the prior options, you're getting about 4 times as much value. Bora Bora is another good location that I think I've ran through a few times as examples, but that's another use case of these points. Same thing of Koh Samui, same thing with Seychelles, these other aspirational destinations. The reason I emphasize this so much is because there's a lot of people who see that big sticker number and then they end up going for a card that might not be that advantageous for them given their circumstances. If you are only looking to do domestic, there still is value. Oftentimes it's going to be last minute events and also just busy weekends. So if you're going to a destination for the 4th of July, then obviously prices are going to be higher. So using points is a good way to get around this. I'm doing this live, so hopefully this makes sense and does not look stupid on my end. It's already sold out, but if you look at the prices for something like Christmas around that area, it's still about 70,000 points per night. The thing though is the retail price is going to be substantially higher. Never mind. Okay, let's look at Seychelles as another example. Hilton Seychelles Le Brise Resort, 80,000 points. Retail's about $585. So that's 0.7 cents per point, and it's within range of what we're targeting. And I'm not saying that you can't use your points if you're domestic, if you're only doing that type of stuff. All I'm saying is you want to make sure that you actually get the value that you think you do. For me, I'm aiming for 0.8 cents per point because that's my target. That's the point of me using points. But if you're only able to get 0.3 cents per point, then you need to account for that in your calculation for whether the card makes sense. So to me, if I got both of these cards, the intro bonus would be worth 310,000 points. In my valuation, that's about $2,340 and maybe even upwards of $3,000-ish. But for you, maybe that's substantially lower. One of the things that I've been getting pretty frustrated with is people sign up for the card and then realize that, wait, this isn't really a card for me. On that note, and only if the cards make sense for you, we have links on our website, AskSebby.com, and using those links really supports the channel. My question for you guys is, what is your plan with American Express right now? Are you waiting for a different set of offers that might make a bit more sense for you? Are you going for Hilton ones? And if you are, what's your use case? What's your redemption plan? Let me know and everyone else know down below, because I'm pretty sure it would be pretty helpful. Give this a thumbs up. If you know anyone else who'd benefit, then share this with them. I'll probably help them out. But otherwise, hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time.